Hi everybody, welcome to Evening TV. I'm Evening Ransom. Today I wanted to talk to you about potential and getting sold on the potential of somebody. Empathic people, or the people that end up paired off with narcissistic people or sociopathic people, we tend to be nurturers. We tend to be nurturing kind of people, which means that we like the idea of being needed, and we like the idea that we could help someone come to their fruition. We could help someone blossom into who they were meant to be with our guidance and our nurturing and our love. When I met my first husband, there was, at the time, there were two potential people that were sort of on the radar screen for me to be dating at the time. One was a surgeon, a young surgeon, already working. He was already done with medical school. He was about 10 years older than me. And then my husband, who was a working guy. He hadn't been to college. He was around my hometown. He was working in construction. He was a partial owner at a home, so he had done that. But what I saw in him is I saw all this potential. And this was very enticing to me. No contest. I mean, I was just not even interested in the surgeon at all. I really wanted to be part of building this life with this guy who really just needed me. He even said, with you by my side, with you as a partner, I could really accomplish a lot. We could be unstoppable together. And I loved the sound of that. I had just moved back home from California, and I was I was looking for direction myself. I had definite directions I would have gone had I not met up with him. I had a college degree, but I was open. I was open to shifting directions and getting involved in something together with him. And so, I was really into the idea of building a life together. We started a business together. We flipped houses together. We lived and worked and everything together. We really did do really well together. But the problem was, we were both investing in him. I was basically investing my life to facilitate. I was thinking of it almost like a first lady. Like, I was fine with the fact that he was out in the front line and I was sort of bolstering, I was a support person behind his career. And I was okay with that. I was totally fine with that. But that's an enormous amount of trust that it takes to do that. Of course, as you know, as the story goes, is he completely betrayed my trust. And the minute that we got to be successful, it really went to his head, and he pulled the trigger on something that he was planning right from the very beginning. As soon as I needed him, when I got sick and I needed to rely on him, he was out. He was out of there. And he was out of there without a single thought about what we'd done together. Now it was he did it all, I did nothing, I was entitled to nothing. He spun everything to make it sound like I was squandering money that he worked really hard to make. And it was really just a huge, enormous betrayal and mischaracterization of everything that we did, because I had worked every bit as hard as he did. Every bit as hard, if not harder, but I'm sure harder, because I was doing all the kids and all the house and everything else as well. But I was happy to give him the glory. His name was on everything. His name was on all the checks. His name was, he was the only one that got paychecks. They were all his. But I did the banking. You know what I mean? So it was. I did not have a mind at all. To me, also, the idea that we were doing it, that we had this, that I was investing in him. To me, in my mind, that gave me security. That gave me security that I wouldn't have had with a surgeon in my mind. But that wasn't the case. In my mind, I thought, well, this is security because we have done this thing together. I've invested, and it's, whatever we get, it's half mine. Well, that was true, but it largely it takes the other person agreeing with you that that's so, because it never occurred to me that he would just decide that it wasn't so. The other way that this can go is that you can buy into potential that never goes anywhere. that never takes off the ground at all. This is when you get involved with someone that you want to change. And you think, well, with my help, they can change and they'll grow and they'll change their ways and all that. And possibly they've not even shown you that they want to change, which is a very dangerous thing to get involved in. But let's say that they are saying to you that they want to be everything that you want them to be, and they're saying that with your help as your new husband or your new wife, they will do that. They will change into becoming this person. Oh, with your, I didn't ever learn to be that kind of person with the way that I was raised or whatever. But with your help, I will, I'll learn, I'll grow, I'll change. Maybe that could be things like things that you like to do socially. Or he was a social climber. He wanted into potential crowds that he didn't think he could. I underestimated what I could do for him. I didn't, I guess, realize that people were as discriminatory socially as they are even still in small town America. I really did help him get acceptance into certain places that he didn't have it before. He was very smart in the way that he saw that. Now, I never looked at people that way. I never looked at people in terms of what they could do for me. Actually, that's not entirely true, because I did with girlfriends and stuff like that. I would try and pick girlfriends that were maybe a little ahead of me in something that I was really interested in, so that I could learn from them how to do things, and I typically like to pick friends that were a little bit better than me at things, so that it would push me to get better and be better and do better and grow. But he was more like, he was, and these qualities were very attractive to me. Like he was very street savvy. I talked about this in one of my other videos about being aware of the environment. He was very aware of the environment. He would go in, he would be able to size up a situation and know who wanted what people's values were, who was in control of the room, who had the power in the room, and all that. And I saw this as I didn't see the nefarious usage of that. I saw that as a skill. I thought he was a very political person. I actually thought that he would potentially have a career in politics. I could see him as a county commissioner or something one day. I thought that he was, he was very popular with people. He enjoyed shaking hands, and he enjoyed schmoozing and all of that, which really wasn't something that I necessarily enjoyed. But I could be a supporting role into someone like that. And I really did think that. I thought, well, with my help, he can overcome all the obstacles that he has from his childhood, or his whatever he sees as his socioeconomic hang-ups or whatever. I can help him through that stuff, and I can help him get acceptance where he wants acceptance, all that. And I certainly did. And also, I applied all of my strengths in building up the business, and building up our credibility, our reputation together in business and all that. And then he just fully took full credit for it all, and made me look like I was a complete and total loser. Whenever you are getting involved with someone, that even if you're young, and even if you're thinking, okay, we're going to build this dream together, you still want to know that ultimately the person that you want to end up with is the person you're with. Because these guys really were acting, and the best that they ever behaved was in the beginning. For most of the time. I tell a couple of stories where that wasn't true, where I really did not have my head screwed on straight, and I definitely forgave things, the really early red flags that I should have never ever gone out with him again. But generally speaking, these narcissists will behave really quite well in the beginning. And so if you think, well, I'm not trying to change him, I want him to be this guy, but then you get involved with him and then he changes, which also happened to me, you can't really blame the victim, because in that case you did really go for the guy that was doing the right thing. But you want to make sure that really the best indication of what someone is going to do in the future is what they've done in the past. So generally speaking, where the narcissists and sociopaths usually fall off the beam is they're going to have problems with sticking with jobs, sticking with plan. If they have an education, they went straight through their education. That's going to be unique. That is not typical. And also not typical is going to be is that they had stable relationships. I had a little bit of an atypical version also there, because we were married for over 10 years when he left me. So but that happens. But they usually have a lot of short-term relationships, a lot of shallow friendships, and they talk badly about their ex-girlfriends. This was true. He did do that. His ex-girlfriends were all crazy drug addicts, all of them, and of course that's what he said about me too. But if you're with someone who, let's look at what you see here, okay? You want to make like Ben Franklin tea, where you do the thing, pros and cons, if you're looking at somebody. And really, if it boils down to on the pro, so I had these two guys, and the pro on the one guy's side was like really nice guy, super polite, he's a doctor, all this stuff. I have all that on the pro side. And then on the con side, I don't know, maybe he was different faith. He was Jewish, but I didn't really. He was maybe a little bit boring, I thought. I wasn't sure if our interests were the same. All that. Okay. But the one I married, seriously, on the pro side, it boiled down to basically he needs me and he's cute. Really, when I really get down to it, that really is what it boiled down to. He needs me and he's cute.